Welcome to the No Limits Podcast with Lisa Jakovsky. As an author, Lisa shares fellow authors whose work has a special message. Aspiring writers find these conversations inspiring and helpful for their own upcoming or current journey. In addition, Lisa's experience helps families with children or adults with special needs, or anyone interested in autism or psychology in general. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the No Limits Podcast with Lisa Jakovsky.
Hello, and welcome to the No Limits Podcast with Lisa Jakovsky. Today, I have Adam Dayan with me, New York City special education attorney and law firm owner. How are you doing today, Adam?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk about your work and your specialty. Tell us about your law firm and the expertise you provide.
Absolutely. My law firm is the Law Offices of Adam Dayan. We specialize in special education law. So we represent children from the ages of 3 to 21 who are living in New York City and have all kinds of disabilities or special educational challenges, ranging from speech and language impairments to learning disabilities to Down syndrome to autism to emotional issues, depression and anxiety, the whole gamut. And we help their families secure an appropriate education so that they can succeed and thrive.
So many families don't know about attorneys that can help them. I've worked with so many, and I think I've only ever had one that actually hired an attorney.
That's very true, by the way, that there's so many families who aren't aware that this field exists. They don't know there are lawyers out there who can help them secure what their children need. And so a lot of what we do is distribute information so that parents can be more informed and know that there are professionals out there who are ready, willing, and excited to help them with their needs.
Where do you distribute materials? Where can people find resources like this so I can send them?
Yeah, we have a digital resource that's available through our website, which is www.dayanlawfirm.com. We have a podcast where we sit down with an expert for each episode on one specific topic and give out information about that particular area. The podcast is called Curious Incident, a podcast for special needs families, and that's available wherever you get your podcasts. And the website blog, where we're always writing about something that's timely or we think will be helpful to families, because the name of the game is information, and we're trying to demystify the process for parents.
I absolutely love that because I know with the parents I work with, that's one of the biggest stressors. They're like, oh my God, I've got the diagnosis. Now what? And I'm definitely going to be sending people over to your blog and your podcast and definitely over to you for information and anything just to help out.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we're always happy to be a resource.
Absolutely. What drew you to this type of law and to specializing in it?
I think a few things. First of all, I always wanted to make a difference, and I thought that my skills, my writing skills, my speaking skills, my advocacy skills were best suited to a career in law. And when I was younger, I struggled myself with OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And I look back on that now and I see that it gave me empathy for other people who are struggling with their own issues. And so for me, this area of practice is very personal. I was able to get what I needed to manage my issues, and I want to make sure every kid out there gets what they need to manage their issues so that they can succeed and thrive. And I'm very passionate about the work that we do. And I have to say it's extremely rewarding because we work with families year after year and we see the strides that the kids make and we get feedback about the progress they're achieving, and it's wonderful.
I love that you bring that up because that's definitely one of the best things about working in this field too. And I love the fact that you brought up that you had OCD and that was something that you needed some help for, because some people don't really look at OCD as something that's an issue. And I definitely work with kids that the parents need to realize their kids need help when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, and just piggybacking on what you said, some people think of special education very narrowly in terms of just academics or learning disability. And the truth is, anything that interferes with learning, whether it's academic, social, emotional, or behavioral, is an issue for which you can get support or services. So parents should keep that in mind. There are therapies and supports out there that you may be able to secure for your child, even if they're doing exceptionally well academically, for example. And so just know that there is help out there.
Exactly, and I love that you said even if they're doing well academically, because people forget about the social issues, or they get to forget about the pressures of being in high school. I worked as a psych assistant and I had a lot of like older kids and I didn't expect it. And it was a really good learning experience because you work with these kids and you have these pressures and then you start to see issues come up, So I love
Absolutely.
that you brought that up. It seems like you have a really wide range of experience, which is amazing.
And those issues can interfere if you're not interacting appropriately with your peers, or your self-esteem is in tatters and you're not feeling good about yourself, or you have some other emotional obstacle that's getting in the way of your regulation, of your being present, of your ability to focus and learn, then there are going to be some serious roadblocks. And the good news is that there are therapies out there that can help kids manage those issues, become more regulated and more available for learning. And that's very much part of the work that we do at my firm.
Families really need to learn more. I love that you guys are advocating and showing positive resources and showing more than autism, showing the real wide range of special needs. And we really don't even need the term special because they're just different needs.
Agreed.
Have you had any very challenging cases or legal issues that you have encountered over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. I can speak about them generally. There's
Yeah.
one matter involving a girl with very severe impairments. And what's challenging about that case is the sheer vastness of the services that she requires to function. And so we're talking about 40 hours per week of one-on-one applied behavioral analysis instruction, supervisory services, intensive speech and language therapy, lots of occupational therapy, lots of feeding therapy, lots of physical therapy, and there's others that I'm not thinking of right now. And so what has made that case complex is that our firm has always had to go to battle with the school district about whether she continues to need all of those services. And we have been successful in continuing to secure them for her. And although her progress has been slow going, there has been definite progress as a result of these services. But that is always a challenge every year, renewing that request and continuing those services to make sure that her needs are met. So that's one example. And I'll just give you two other examples of things that have come up in our practice. Obviously, COVID, navigating that whole experience of everything shutting down and transitioning to a new world of remote impartial hearings and uncertainty about going to school and parents just evaluating everything in a different way than was the case in the past. That was certainly a challenge for our firm, and I'm very proud of the way our team navigated through that in working with our clients. That's a mouthful, so I guess I'll pause there for now.
Working in a school district now for the last year, I really see a lot more the issues that come up when it comes to children that have different needs, that have the social emotional. It's a battle. It's really hard. And I can't even imagine how hard it is. You have to justify why they keep getting paid. And I feel like and I want to know if you think it's like too ridiculous and too hard too, but I feel like it's almost like they make it super hard on purpose.
It's not the way the system was meant to work. Parents are supposed to be able to go to a meeting with the school district team and secure the services they need for their child. Unfortunately, and I'm speaking mainly about New York City, it has become adversarial, and there are budgetary constraints, even though that's not a valid reason for denying services. And the reality is that the New York City school system is the biggest school system in the country. There's 1.2 million students in the system, 200,000 of whom have special needs. And it's just a lot of students to keep track of. And the school system struggles to give everybody what they need and what they're entitled to. And so, unfortunately, parents have no choice but to seek out lawyers who do this work and file a complaint so that they can get what they're entitled to. Because just because that school district team says no doesn't mean that you're not entitled to the services. And that's one caveat I would have to parents. Don't only rely on what school district people are telling you. Educate yourself, avail yourself of resources that are out there so that you can be sure you're getting accurate information about what your child should be getting and is entitled to be getting.
I absolutely agree. I know New Jersey is very much the same. And, that's one of, I think, the hardest things about having a little one that has something going on is being able to figure out what you are supposed to have. I have a couple specialists I work with that are parents that have had to do the same and advocate for their child. And I feel like that's one of the biggest difficulties of being a parent, and it shouldn't be. These are
Right.
things that we really have to work on, and
I'm with you on that. And I will say that although I'm speaking mainly from the standpoint of New York City,
Yeah.
because we represent families who live in New York City, all of this area of practice is based on federal law. And there are going to be many similarities between New York and New Jersey and other states in the country. And this is generally the framework that it's based on. So it's unnecessarily complicated and adversarial in a lot of places. And parents would really do justice by being informed and knowing what they're entitled to.
I absolutely agree. And that's why I'm really glad we have firms like yours who have a podcast, who have a blog, who put really amazing information out there. I've read some from your blog. It's pretty awesome, and I'm definitely going to be referring families to it because this is what we need to do. And it's great to see other people out there doing this. Do you have any other advice you could give families that are seeking legal counsel?
One piece of advice would be to take advantage of a complimentary consultation with a law firm as early as possible. And it's a great way to get information from a special education law firm with very little commitment or obligation. I've had parents come years after the fact and say, I really wish I had started this process sooner. And by having a consultation, you can understand better how this process works. You can hear whether there's any evaluations you need to be securing before embarking on this process. Sometimes the law firm can be the conduit for any therapist that you might want to contact to put services in place for your child. And you get a world of information from speaking with a lawyer who specializes in this area. And, as I mentioned, at our firm, it's complimentary. There's no financial cost to families who want to come and hear more. So that would be one piece of advice that I emphasize strongly.
A complimentary consult is incredible. And, I think it'd be really helpful. And I agree with that family that the sooner you start, the better. I've met a lot of families that have the same thing. And that's why I love doing things like this and meeting and promoting and putting out there other companies that are doing similar stuff, because these families need to see this earlier on to get their child what they need so that there's not so many issues later on.
Yes. And there are many steps that parents are going to need to follow if they want to embark on this process. And if you start earlier, you have more time to plan it out patiently and strategize and go after what you're pursuing in a way that's more likely to have you be successful. And so by starting early, you have those benefits and advantages, and that's important to keep in mind.
It's very overwhelming, and families, I don't think, realize how much work they're going to have to go into. And some of the families don't want to put the work in. And the ones that do, it's almost like a third or second job for them. And being able to have that support, I think, is so important, whether they want it or not. But just being aware of it, knowing it's out there, I think is such a huge step for them. What is
Yeah.
next for you and your firm and your podcast, and where else can people contact you?
So our firm is continuing to grow. During the pandemic, a lot of clients were asking about long-term financial planning for their children. In response to that, we started a special needs trust and estate planning division within our law firm. And so that's now something that we're offering to our clients. They can set up trusts to make sure that if their kids are getting government benefits, they can continue getting those benefits and also put away money for the future for their kids' long-term security. For any parents who are looking to do wills or powers of attorney or advanced directives, we can help with that now as well. So that's really exciting, and we're continuing to build that out. The special education side of our practice is thriving, and we already have a very passionate team. We're looking to bring on more people to continue the wonderful work that we do. And for me, a personal mission is speaking about my experiences with OCD when I was younger, so that students can hear that there's help out there and you don't have to be ashamed or feel bad about yourself just because you're struggling with something. People struggle with stuff, and you can still get those issues under control and be successful. And so I am pursuing all kinds of speaking engagements to be able to convey that message to people who would benefit from hearing it. And those are a few of the exciting things that we are working on.
That is so exciting. If you have any, let me know. I'll promote them. If they're recorded, I'll put them out there. We need a lot more of that too, because people need to know that's okay.
You got to talk about it, because if you keep it inside, or if you feel ashamed about it, or if you think it reflects negatively on who you are as a person, which it doesn't, then it's going to set you back. But there's help and support out there, and you can still be successful in what you do if you get the right supports and services.
I agree. Your law firm is so amazing. It's so different. I absolutely love what you're doing. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about or talk about?
I can't think of anything else right now. I would certainly encourage people to listen to the podcast. We've had some great experts on, and the episodes are really informative. You can check out the website, www.dayanlawfirm.com. If you want to reach us in the office, the number is 646-866-7157. And if anybody wants to send me an email, I'd be happy to receive it. My email address is adayan@dayanlawfirm.com.
I love how you guys are expanding with the trust and estate planning too, because that was a huge issue when I worked with adults as well. Thank you, Adam, so much for being here and for all that you're doing for the special needs community. You are so needed, and what you're doing is incredible.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your kind words, and to you as well. The work you're doing is great, and I really appreciate your having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This is Lisa Jackowski with the No Limits podcast. If you'd like to come on, you can reach me on my email, lisa@lisaj.net. Thanks.